This episode is brought to you by Madewell. Good days start with great jeans. The denim experts at Madewell use premium fabric and the latest denim technology to make super comfy, never want to take them off jeans in fits and styles for everyone. In other words, your perfect pair is waiting. Ready to step up your denim game? Visit Madewell.com and use the code IHEART20 for $20 off your online jeans purchase. Terms apply. See Madewell.com/promos for full offer details.
Zeit gang, listen, when pain says you can't, Advil says you can. That's right, like when my head is pounding from reading all kinds of stories where I don't know which direction society is going to move in, Advil says, you got this, Miles. You should continue to podcast. And I say, thank you, Advil. Thank you for being there with me. Pain tries to prevent you from living your life, but Advil makes you stronger than pain, targeting the source to help you feel better fast. And for over 35 years, Advil has been tough on tough pain. So if you want unbeatable relief, look for Advil at your nearest retailer.
This episode of the Daily Zeitgeist is brought to you by Simi Wine. Simi Wine was born from the grit and perseverance of its tenacious founder, Isabel Simi. Because when life gave her grapes, she knew exactly what to do.
And that's why a glass of Simi Wine is a reward worth having, because good things come to those who work hard. I've tried the Chardonnay. It's medium bodied, and I must say, an easy sipper on a nice hot summer day. So enjoy their many varietals wherever fine wines are sold, or visit online at shopsimiwine.com. That's SHOPSIMIWINE.com to learn more about their premium selection of California wines and order yours today. Please enjoy your wines responsibly. Simi Winery, Geyserville, California.
Hello, the internet, and welcome to season 201, episode 2 of The Daily Zeitgeist, a production of iHeartRadio. This is a podcast where we take a deep dive into America's shared consciousness. It is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. My name is Jack O'Brien, a.k.a. Do you have the time to change your paradigm? To listen to our takes that are left of center? I am one of those. Hopped up on Mountain Dew. My white thighs will be shown, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give Miles the creeps, popping up without warning. It all keeps adding up. This coal gas must be stopped. Am I just paranoid, or am I Jack? That is courtesy of Concerned Citizen, another AKA that assumes that the coal gas study is me just wanting coal gas to be stopped instead of a historical study of what happened when coal gas was taken away, that reveals interesting things about why people commit suicide. But A for effort. And I am thrilled to be joined, as always, by my co-host, Mr. Miles Gray!
Fuck, man, these nuts don't even go. Ooh, baby, I like them raw. Ooh, baby, I don't like them raw. Ooh, baby, I don't like them raw. Yeah, baby, I don't like them raw. Gimme almonds, gimme pecans, gimme yay. Gimme some peanuts, but here's what I say. Cast off that natural charge, bon voyage. I like my nuts like my weed, roasted squad. Okay, that's from Andrew Bub. You guy, you know what's going on. You heard about the argument we had about raw nuts. They got to be roasted because anything else just tastes like a bunch of goo and nonsense. So yeah, we're team roasted over here. Although I wasn't saying gimme yay like gimme cocaine, but I think you're just making it rhyme because it sounds a little bit weird when you're like, gimme almonds, gimme pecans, gimme yay, and you're like, whoa, easy, not that kind of party. So yeah, shout out to you. Love evoking the dirtiest of them all because he knows Wu-Tang's for the children.
Absolutely. Well, we are thrilled to be joined in our third seat by a brilliant poet, political activist, academic, MC, podcast host of the Must Listen,
graffiti artist,
Hood Politics, graffiti artist.
Hey,
let's go.
And the host of the Must Listen, Hood Politics with Prop on Cool Zone Media. Please welcome the brilliant and talented Propaganda!
Hey. What's up, West? Glad to be in the Zeitgeisty. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
those were two of the dopest songs, y'all. I'm going on record saying those were the two of the best.
Yep. You know, we save our best for when we have a musician on to just show them what's what.
I will say, I've always wondered what's that accent the early
I'm one of these. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're like mimicking a British.
Right.
Like, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like. It's like you're pretending to be British. And I'm like, blink, y'all from San Diego. Like, you think I don't know? That's not y'all's. You know what I'm saying?
To know
Yeah,
that,
and then-
the emo voice was just really bad English accents that dudes are trying to
Yes!
do over here.
That's
Like,
what
I
emo
don't
voice
really
was.
know. And you're like,
Yeah.
is that British?
Right.
Good
It's
day,
like-
mate. You're like, that's Aussie. I don't know what's going on with them.
Why are you doing this? Why are
Right.
you doing a fake British accent? It's Khaled's Jamaican accent where I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
why are you
see-
doing this, bro?
Yo, did you see the Andrew from All Gas No Breaks or now Channel 5 News? He made a documentary with Chet Hanks.
No.
Oh, really?
He dropped it. It's only on his Patreon right now, but he dropped a teaser on the YouTube, and the video is so fucking wild because Chet Hanks is just going off with that patois. You know, he's talking like he's from the
Yes.
islands, and
Yes.
there's just a genius back and forth in it where I just want to just check it out because it's a very clever interview that I think he was doing.
Okay.
So I can't wait to
His
see the full
patois
clip.
is pretty. His patois is pretty. Pretty flawless. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
That's all he says.
Wait a minute.
That's his.
Yeah.
That's his cultural appropriation defense. He's like, then how come every fucking Jamaican is hitting me up saying respect, General? You know, they know I'm with you. They
Rewind
know.
selector.
Yeah, they're like, oh
Enough
my god,
respect.
airmen out, Chet.
Airman House.
They don't know. They
I'm
don't
like,
know. Yeah, so
They don't know.
Oh
he
my
goes
God.
off on this thing, and then it's chaos.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
have to link to that in the footnotes because this clip is something
Footnotes?
else. Yeah, footnotes.
Oh man, I'm ready for it.
That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. All right, Prop, we're going to get to know you a little bit better in a moment.
Yes.
First, a couple of things we're talking about today. We're talking about how people are pushing back against the Texas ban in their own ways. We are going to talk about how, as the U.S. cuts unemployment benefits, more rational countries are actually looking into 4-day work weeks around the country and finding
More and
out
more.
that they work really well. We are going to check in on the sperm of the unvaccinated. We've just
Never know.
we always have to take that temp check. We're going to talk about how it's gross. We're going to talk about how tent cities are rising up while homelessness and the unhoused population actually goes down in numbers and why that is. And yeah, we're going to talk about Andre 3000, all of that, plenty more. But first, Prop, we like to ask our
Yes.
guest, what is something from your search history?
Yeah, my last search history was a medicine wheel totem. So
medicine wheel
I
totem.
turned out I sat on the grandmother moon rock. So long story short, I spent the last 4 days at this therapy, counseling, like youth camp type situation where you like go and down the woods, and it's just this like whole processing your inner child, all the shit that you know that Black people never do that you should do, right? So I went to go do it. They had a medicine wheel, you know, this rock thing. They had like the labyrinth, but in a weird twist of dissonance, it was in Nashville, but on fucking plantation. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
this is a plantation. I don't know how in the hell y'all want me to be open and vulnerable at a motherfucking plantation. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But I got over it, you know, and anyway, it took a while, but I got over it. But
Right.
so the last thing they had was this medicine wheel, and I was looking up what the grandmother moon totem meant.
And what does it mean? Do you know?
Yeah, apparently it's like the spirit that guides the cycles of life, and mostly as it's tied to the cycles of the feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
So feminine life cycles, menstruations, how that's tied to the tides and the seasons. So it's supposed to be the guidance for the female soul. I ended up sitting on it, which is cool because, I mean, I'm a girl dad. It's only women in my house.
Right.
So I'm like, and it was basically saying like, you should open yourself up to the sacred feminine and the feminine side in you, and that like, see how cycles can process and cleansing of life, death, yada, yada. So it was saying like, you need to open up your feminine side. And I'm like, that's the only side in my house. I ain't got no option but to open up to the feminine side.
They're like,
So-
well, how come you're not wearing sandals, Prop?
Basically,
If
was
you open to the feminine side, as Jizza said, in Liquid Swords, because it's feminine like sandals.
He was. Jizza got some questionable lines. Cause I was like, I don't know what the hell this means. But
I think I'm bringing it up like once a week now because this is my favorite.
You gotta remind them.
It'll never shake it, and that's a minimum of feminine like sandals.
yes, I was like, I remember immediately. Just every once in a while, where you just say like, "What's wrong with sandals, man?"
Right.
That's all
And
we're
I'm like,
asking ourselves.
He had
What's the
opinions,
problem?
you know? That was
What's wrong with sandals? I was like, you haven't been to the beach? You don't wear sandals at the beach? What's wrong with you, brother?
Only,
Like,
Tim's only at the beach.
Tim's only. Hell, New York.
yeah.
Hell of New
Yeah,
York.
or you
Dead
wear
ass
wallabies.
Tim's.
Wallabies, or fucking, you gotta wear Clark Wallabies or fucking Tim's to the beach. Nothing else.
Tim's to the beach, just fully dressed in a hoodie in the ocean. Like, come on, fam. It's not even
Exactly.
functional. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't think Wu Wear had much beach attire.
There's
if I
no
remember
board shorts
correctly.
for Wu Wear.
Just gigantic hockey jerseys, which I had two of.
So yeah, that's my last search engine.
Nice. What's something you think is overrated?
Donda.
Okay,
Just
Yeah.
so great.
the album.
I tried.
I tried, man. It's like there's like a cruising altitude that you should expect from somebody who's made that many records. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, of course it's going to be this good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Of course it's going to be hits. Of course it's going to be sonically amazing. You're going to give us bars. There's going to be something super catchy. Of course you're going to have some cool features. Of course you are.
Mhm.
Right? But like, that's just, man, don't sell me a lobster when you know it's a cod. Like, it's just like, it's a good cod, but like,
Yeah.
Sure.
just, and then you saw that Michael Rappaport, that video where he was just like, don't give me no fucking excuses. Well, the beat here, look, does it slap or not?
right.
Is it a fucking bop or not?
Yeah.
Easy. You know what I'm saying? And I felt myself doing that with the album. Like, well, I like this bar, these 8 sections, that's super dope.
Right.
It's like, look, man, do you like the record or not?
Yep.
You
I
know,
guess no,
and I'm like,
then yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, it's
That's
good.
what I was
but-
saying. It felt like both him and Drake's albums just felt like they know people are going to buy it and listen to it either way. And they're just playing the consumer for being like, y'all are going to buy this shit anyway, even if I'm not putting everything into it. So deal with it.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it meets that minimum standard.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's cruising altitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but don't tell me you're putting your heart and soul in this.
right.
Right.
Just tell me you're putting out a
He built
record.
a scale model of his mother's house in a stadium. That's how you
Which
know.
is
And then
epic.
he ascended to heaven in front of everyone.
Remarried his divorced wife in front of everybody. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the theatrics, I get it. But like, okay, man. At the end of the day, it's like, was Anthony Bourdain? He's like, look, man, it's a burger.
Mhm.
You can call this thing, you can add whatever you look. This is meat and buns. You can put whatever pineapples and all, you put whatever you want. Fucking burger, dog.
Right.
Do you think
Either
he
a good burger or
knows?
not a good burger.
Do you think he is able to tell at this point that he dropped a turkey for the most part?
No.
Or a cod?
He
A good
hasn't been.
cod?
Listen to the way he's been talking for the last few years. He's so gassed
Right.
up on his own shit, and he has a ton of people, perpetuating that around him. That
Yeah.
I can't. I would be really surprised if he said like, "Yeah, that was super undisciplined. Like I should have waited. Like but
Yeah.
it's a lesson, for me as a creative because he talks like he has the whole fucking.
He's already figured it out.
Yeah,
already
I mean,
figured
he
it out.
essentially did say that without accepting any blame for it. He was like, they put it out without my approval. So that's him being like, it's not where it
Yeah,
needs
but
to
that's
be.
like
Well, it wasn't done.
that like reminds you like I remember like in high school like our track team was really good and there's this one kid who was talking all this shit about how he's good in the 200 and like he was gonna smoke this other kid at a meet and he knew out the blocks this guy fucking had his ass so he pulled up like his hamstring fucked up and he's like and he's like nah man something happened I would have had him though. That's what that Kanye line feels like. We're like I wasn't ready and they put it out.
Yeah.
Like, you knew you were just
And
talking
then,
a lot of shit.
You was. Even the baby was like, the baby's manager, because he said, because you know how like fools kept getting pulled off the record and all this. We're probably gonna talk about it later. But how that his manager, he was like, look, man, he put it out. His manager said he didn't approve the verse. That's why we pulled it out. His manager pulled a statement like, why in the hell would I take my artist off a Kanye album?
Right.
Why would I do that? Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? Of course we approved it, you know? And and that to me, like that makes that tracks.
Yeah.
Like, why would you say no?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
of
saying?
foolery.
Yeah.
A lot of foolery going on.
Do you
Yeah,
think
so
that there
overrated.
are 7 good songs worth of shit on the album? Like if he had just cut it down? Because that was like my initial reaction was like, this is the, you know, Cheesecake Factory menu of, you know, just stuff and everything in there that they possibly could. And then like I
think
feel
he
like
could have
there's
got it to a
5.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have got it to like a 7 to 12.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, obviously all this is just my
But it wouldn't have
opinion,
stood
you know
up
what I'm
with
saying?
his best shit.
But then you say like, yo, like College Dropout, Late Registration, those are long ass records.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I get that he's
that's
like,
true.
well, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't miss on those. Like, I don't know what to say, bro. You didn't miss. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Dark Fantasy was only 13. So, you know, he can go between them all, but
He
I
can
don't
do
know.
it.
I think like we were talking about last week, Jack, it's just that the Spotify shit has completely changed how people look at an album and like what it means to listen and chart and all that. So now it's just like gaming a computer algorithm.
Yeah.
It's not about the art anymore. It's not about the bars. It's not about the beats.
Do you have thoughts on the Drake
Nobody
album?
gives you bars. I haven't listened to a single Drake album in 15 years. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
Nah, I haven't heard it yet.
Okay.
For real, I haven't heard Drake's record yet. You know, and I mean, it's kind of like my suspicion is it's gonna be a bunch of singles. They'll all work. You know what I'm saying? It'll be great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the same thing. It's like it's gonna be great. It's
right.
Candy.
I'm even I mean, I did the junior high version of going through an album where it's like if it's not connecting in 3 seconds, I'm hitting skip. And I got to the 15th track pretty quick, just listening to the album like that. And I was like, well. But then all these people put out songs in between albums that you're like, that should have just been on your fucking album,
right? Yeah,
rather than like
that song's
on some
great.
loose mixtape stuff. But it is what it is.
What is something you think is underrated, Prop?
Oh, 3 Stacks. Andre 3000.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what immediately I was like, I hate that he's not on everyone's top 5. And I absolutely come from, I'm like Keepers of the Flame, old guard, you know, you don't rap over your lyrics. Like when you say freestyle, you mean freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like I come from Lyrical Miracle. That's where I come from. You know what I'm saying?
Lyrical Miracle, yeah.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? I come from that. Quasar spinning pulsars, right?
Right.
Having said that, it's like, but Andre can do that. And he can do Drake. Like he can do it all.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, and he's got that Kendrick thing that even his singles are lyrical. Like you're still rapping your ass off. You know what I'm saying? And it's emotional and like, so like my personal, everybody got their top 5. I mean, there's some top 5 that's like undisputed. You know, you can't talk like J.M., Pac, Nas, Big. Like this you can't, it's undisputed. Like there's no other, I get it. But like for myself, I'm like, Pharoah Monch, Andre 3000. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, 3 Stacks, Black Thought, like these dudes where you're just like, why are they not Mount Rushmore? You know what I'm saying? So like for me, like 3 Stacks to this day, I will scream on the top of a mountain that like, y'all not giving him his flowers.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I wonder if it's because, you know, Andre isn't like, you know, like a cypher rapper like those other guys you're talking are, who is just coming straight for the bars and just coming for your neck in a battle kind of person, because he really he gave it like more of an art form. Like, you know, I feel like Kendrick will look at what Andre did and realize that there's a lot more that you can do with rapping than merely just having great, metaphors and things like that.
Yes.
Because I think one of my favorite Andre songs is A Life in the Day of Benjamin Andre. I love that song from The Love Below. And it's such a non-single, but his storytelling game is so fucking just on point, and it's laser focused that I was like, there's not even a fucking like a real hook on this song, and he's just destroying it. So yeah, for me, I'm like, he's using the palette of rap in a much different way than a lot of other MCs are, and I think that's what I think most people don't I don't think articulate enough about what makes him exceptional.
Exactly, nailed it. On the Idlewild record that everybody missed is an album they did going on with the movie. He got a song called Chronometrophobia. Mm-hmm. Just the fear of clocks. And he talking about just being afraid of running out of time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this man is like, it's like, y'all come look at this. Like, that's the way I felt. I'm like, are y'all hearing this? I know I'm not crazy. This is brilliant. And it's anyone would skip it. You'd skip it because it's not a single. Yeah.
I feel like he can just say whatever he wants on a song. Like the rhyming is almost like it's just being done automatically. Like he's not having to force any rhyme. It's just he's saying whatever the fuck he wants to say. It's like he definitely feels like the only person who when you look at a written verse, you're like nobody else could have done that.
No one could have done this.
Yeah.
On this song that leaked, it's like I usually, because like you said, I'm a poet, I'm a rapper. My first thought always when I see a song, see a concept, I'm like, how would I approach that? And sometimes where I'm going, how would you approach that? And I'm like, I know what this fool finna do. You know what I'm saying? It's like people got it's like most rappers are like a 4 to 5 trick pony. Like, I know what you're gonna talk about.
Right.
This dude, the idea of saying, I'm talking to Kanye's mom and asking him to go find my mom in heaven, because I got some questions for her. Like, where you come from?
Right.
How'd you think of that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's not. He's not even trying. It's like he's not even trying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you hold out hope that solo album's coming, or are you happy with the features?
I love it. And it's almost like that's even more why I think he's so goated, that he's just like, I'll rap when I feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing to prove.
His energy is truly of someone who his ego isn't threatened at all by people maybe not publicly acknowledging. He truly he lives from his inside and just projects that outward. The outside does not inform his inside. And that's true, self-actualization, true self-worth is to know that no matter what is happening exists outside of you, that has in no way will interrupt or cause chaos to what you are, know and live and breathe as an artist or person.
Yes.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back to talk about Texas. Hey, Zeitgang, it's me, Jack, from work or wherever you listen to this show. The car, maybe, but saying, hey, it's me, Jack, from your car sounds weird. Anyways, look, I want to tell you about a product I've used in the past when I was leaving my old job at Cracked and wanted to stay in touch with listeners and readers from Cracked. I went to squarespace.com and created jackcobrien.com to collect emails to stay in touch with you guys, and it worked. If you're listening to this, you or whoever told you about the podcast fell into my trap. But guys, you can use squarespace.com for anything. It's an all-in-one platform. They'll take care of e-commerce, domains, marketing tools, analytics. Most importantly for me, a dumb person who pretends to be smart for a living, it's easy to use and it doesn't look easy to use. It looks like you and an extremely talented graphic designer made it artisanally with your own hands somewhere in Brooklyn. You can do it all at squarespace.com. Go to squarespace.com/TDZ for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code TDZ to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Hey, Miles, it's me, Jack, here outside your window in the bushes. Have you noticed that the sky's been gray for like 3 years
Yes,
straight?
because of the wildfires and just the climate change that's occurring, and that new IPCC report that said this is a red alert for humanity. I've been paying attention.
There's something that you might be able to do about that with Aspiration. They are an environmentally friendly debit card, and they're offering our listeners up to $200 when you open an account at aspiration.com and spend $1,000 in the first 60 days.
You think about, okay, where do people get their money to do all these coal mining and oil drilling operations? Well, big banks invested more than $500 billion of your money
Not
into
my
those
money.
projects. Well, it might be. You check who your bank is.
That's a good point.
And it's leading directly to global warming. But your money can do better at Aspiration. And Aspiration is not a bank. It's a game changer. They'll never use your money to fund fossil fuels. And with Aspiration, you can choose to plant a tree with every purchase using your spare change and get paid up to 2 days early.
So for a limited time, Aspiration is offering our listeners up to $200 when you open an account at aspiration.com and spend $1,000 in the first 60 days. Learn details when you sign up for a better world at aspiration.com. Aspiration Financial, LLC, member SIPC. Hey, Zeit Gang. Are you ready for the modern bidet company that washes away even the messiest of poops?
Messiest, like Lionel.
Leaving you with a better clean than toilet paper? You gotta get with Tushy.
Is your butt clean enough to sit on the couch naked?
No way.
It actually can be. And with Tushy, my butt is clean enough to eat off of. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet over here.
Gross. If you got poop on any other part of your body, would you just wipe it off?
Heck no.
You'd wash it. Stop wiping and start washing with Tushy, the modern bidet that attaches directly to your toilet.
Before Tushy, I was a poopy mess. I didn't know what to do. I was wasting toilet paper, and I was like, what's that smell?
He smelled bad.
But now that I have one, my life has changed. The Tushy is the modern bidet for people who poop. Just poop, wash, and pat dry.
Start washing with a Tushy bidet for a better clean. Go to hellotushy.com/TDZ to get 10% off plus free shipping.
This is a special offer for our listeners, the Zeit Gang, at hellotushy.com/TDZ for 10% off.
TDZ.
After you buy and install your Tushy, show it off. Tag us at Hello Tushy on Instagram.
And we're back. And, you know, I think some people were looking to the official channels of power after Texas functionally banned abortion. And, like, are y'all going to do something? Which I think is natural. Merrick Garland said the DOJ will help protect clinics that are under attack as they find a way to remedy the effects of Texas's abortion ban. Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren are calling for the filibuster to get stomped out, but that's just doesn't seem like there's any movement on that front.
Yeah. We have heroes like Caitlyn Jenner who are like, I agree with what's happening in Texas. You're like, nobody asked you. Now sit down.
Right.
Listen.
A lot of Republicans have been really quiet too.
Yeah.
Right. Because
That's a landmine.
They know it's a loser. Yeah, they know it's a
Yeah.
loser. But that's the problem is the Democrats know it's a winner, and so they're not going to do anything other than kind of let it burn.
Well, yeah, that's like anything. It's like, oh, let's find an issue that will motivate people, and in the interim, allow people to die because we're not going to address it immediately, and just draw it out to motivate votes, and then we'll act like we didn't know what the fuck y'all were talking about when we win the election. This is kind of the pattern we're seeing. And yeah, I think everyone was trying to figure out how to help in their own way. We talked about just generally like, this is a time for people to be a little more in touch with your activist side, to figure out how you can factor into mutual aid networks, how you can factor in to offer your skills or materials that you may have to help in service of movements like this to protect each other. Because as we're seeing, leaderships are doing it too slowly. And it's just really wild to see just all the different ways that this has come out. Like, first, the site itself had to keep the bounty website where people could go like report, suspected abortion activity essentially for the $10,000 whatever gift card to Costco or whatever they're giving out. That site they had to find a new server, like a hosting service, because GoDaddy was like, nope, sorry. Then Epic was like another one that they went to that usually hosts like trash, problematic places. They're like, nope. So they've had trouble just generally hosting the infrastructure. But then the young people were also coming through. There's this one guy on TikTok who kind of went viral. His name's Sean Black, Black_Madness21, because he wrote like an algorithmic script. Like he wrote a script basically to just spam the website with a bunch of fake nonsense tips to, gum up the works. So I just want to play this because it's just wild to see, like, how even people who love their computers and are just trying to contribute are sharing this information, and it's leading to a lot of movement.
Okay, so here's the update. Unfortunately, they IP banned me, found out this morning. So when I access the site, it gives me something that looks like this. But before that, I was able to get about 245.
So right now, he's walking through like just all the code and what he's been able to do to spam this website.
You might be asking yourself, what is
he made an iOS shortcut?
Well, it picks a random city, county, and Texas zip code and all the other information, puts it in the form, automatically submits it. So if you go to the website from your iOS device, this is the web page with the form. You click the share button, you click the shortcut, it automatically sends the form.
Damn.
It will then refresh the page and give you the option to do it again. Hit that 5 seconds.
Damn, man.
So, yeah, this young man said, hey, you've done this iOS script and you'll fuck their website up, the kingdom come. And a lot of people have been hopping on. There was this, he said he was inspired by this other woman's TikTok to just be like, fuck it, just go in there and put some dumb shit. Just say Greg Abbott is in there and say the accusation is his ass stinks. And just like force them to go through all this shit. But, that was this young man's version to just figure out, hey, you know what? This seems like a easy way to spam a website. Here's how you can make it hard for them.
Yes. Gen Z is undefeated. I'm like, these people were born on the internet.
Yeah.
So
you
just can't.
We merely playing it.
We're playing it. Like there are people that you're just too good at the internet. And I'm like, just seeing the idea that dude figured out, I'm like, they're too good at the internet. There's just, you can't. I think about people trying to like, who am I thinking about? Lil Nas X. He's just too good at the internet. Like there's
it's an extension of him. I feel like it's not, Miles, you said like people who love their computers, but I feel like it's more just like an extra extension of their person that they're just like able to just think
as easy as it is for me to manipulate my fingers on my hand. Like that's them with the internet. It's just, you're right. It's an extension. I am hardwired. They can just do it, and the idea that that's the way they chose to like, this is my activism. You know what I'm saying? Make me feel like a T1 Terminator. I'm like straight, I'm the Schwarzenegger version. These kids is liquid. Like just, it's incredible, bro.
Yeah.
Like that level of brilliance.
Yeah, because they're almost like the closest I came to it was being like in Madden, like on Super Nintendo, when you knew, oh man, this play works every fucking time.
Yeah,
like, it just
that's
does.
the closest.
I've done every fucking. I've played the game enough to know this for whatever reason it's a glitch and it works. That's how a lot of these people understand the internet, where they're like, oh yeah, nothing's a problem because I can make whatever I need to happen just fucking happen. And and it is, again, to see that sort of energy being taken into something like this, you love to see it. One other group, though, quickly, that has decided to throw their weight around in this debate over abortion access is the Satanic Temple. They are using, their IRS recognized religious status to challenge the bill as well. And they're saying that their followers have a right to an abortion because it's part of their religion. They said, quote, the Satanic Temple stands ready to assist any member that shares its deeply held religious convictions regarding the right to reproductive freedom. Accordingly, we encourage any member who resides in Texas and wishes to undergo the satanic abortion ritual within the first 24 weeks of pregnancy to contact the Satanic Temple so we may help them fight this law directly. They've done this kind of stuff in the past, too, because they're saying like, well, if that's a religion, then this is also the deal. Like where they said, if you're going to have 10 Commandments stuff in the Capitol building, I think it was in Missouri or somewhere, like they used to have Baphomet in there, too. Yeah. Just to keep it funky, because if we're going to represent all religions, right? And,
point.
This is more of a point than, like, I think a real, true legal challenge. But everyone is sort of, again, even talked about, well, if this is the case, if we're going to this heartbeat bill and we're going 6 weeks as the cutoff, then is that going to affect child support and things like that? Because if we're really going to go there, are we really going to go there?
I find it. I have to put on my theological hat here.
Mm-hmm.
The history and theology, like, understanding that evangelicals weren't always anti-abortion. Like they weren't always that. That was a political moment, which I know is like anathema to like a modern conservative Christian, to think that like there was a time that y'all ain't think like this. Mm-hmm. But to even more, again, now I'm putting my theology hat on. Once upon a time, I considered seminary mainly because I just like learning. I just find everything. I was like, man, I'm gonna finish the seminary, then I'm gonna go to this Muslim one, then I'm gonna go to this Buddhist one. I just think it's interesting. Anyway, deep cut, went back in to make sure I wasn't tripping, but there was an old law in the book of Numbers in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, Numbers chapter 5, verses 11 through the end of the chapter, where if a man suspected his wife like creeped on him and he was overcome, as the scripture says, with the spirit of jealousy, he could take her to the priest, right, and make her swear an oath that I ain't do nothing, right? And what the priest would do was make this concoction, they said, that would taste bitter in her soul, right? As to if she was telling the truth, this concoction would just run right through her. But if she lying, it's going to abort the child. That you supposed to drink this water that's going to induce an abortion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the law, right? And then the law says that after that, the man is free, he's forgiven, and she has to bear the iniquity. And I'm like, so you telling me abortion's in the Bible? Right? That's so I part of me feels like, I don't know if anybody ever read this thing, actually. Like that there's some shit in here.
It's real selective. Real selective.
Yeah, but I'm like, I don't think y'all ain't ever read this shit. Like, it's in there. And now, granted, we still talking about ancient people. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that, like, they ancient, number one, and number two, most of the other tribes would have just killed the lady.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So at least they say, well, just abort the child. Like, but I'm saying, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to talk biblical, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna need you to unpack the way you thinking about this. It's just one of those, like, just kind of putting that in there. I don't know what this has to do with the law, but I just like, hey, actually, before you start saying, you know what I'm saying, this where your God stand. Mm-hmm. I need you to, like,
I do feel
understand the complexities of the way for which your God has approached this topic. Yeah,
I do feel like a lot of Baptists would be on board with a woman's right to choose is between her husband and his priest. I feel like they could get on board.
They might be down with that one.
Because it's not the actual procedure that bothers them. It's the lack of control over. I feel like in a lot of situations, but just a couple highlights from the story. The Texas Right to Life claimed, so after people started spamming them with Shrek porn and other false claims, they said, we have it all under control. We anticipated this real confidently, like a action movie villain at the end of the first act. And then so that's when they blocked people from outside the U.S. And that's when a single teenager was able to find the workaround for that. And also, shout out to Gizmodo's Shoshana Wodinsky, who pointed out that it violated GoDaddy's terms of service. So Texas Right to Life also, by the way, exposed the private info of 300 job applicants, which was stored in an unprotected directory on its website. So just not the best at any of this. So once GoDaddy kicked them off, they went to the dude who, his name is literally Rob Monster. He runs a website service company called Epic and calls itself the Swiss bank of the domain industry. But really, they're just like, they enable white supremacy. Yeah. They, like when GoDaddy shut down Gab, they came to the rescue and helped host a Gab after the Pittsburgh synagogue shooter. Yeah, Parler as well. But even Rob Monster wouldn't host the snitch site after receiving complaints. They found the site violated their terms of use and it was shut down. So
I really wonder, like, who thought the snitch site was like, I'm like, this is an honest question. Like, why would y'all think this was a good idea? Like, who would think of this?
This happens all the time in my experience in like Southern Baptist communities, like talking about each other and like the other person's sins. So I wonder if like within the people who are part of the anti-choice movement, if they are, you know, it just seems more natural to them. It seems like a better idea to them than the rest of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to where we're at with unemployment in the U.S. I know, like in the mainstream media, there's a lot of headlines about U.S. misses its jobs number for fucking whatever, August. I don't know, whatever month we just lived through, and so that's going to filter down to us in some sort of probably inhumane policy. But we've also in the past talked about how other countries are experimenting with a 4-day work week and having great results.
Yeah, it's just wild to see, like, when I'm scrolling news headlines, one thing will be like, Scotland also now participating in pilot program for 4-day work week. And then the next one is like 7.5 million people will lose some or all of their unemployment benefits. And the just difference in just the basics on how we look at employment and working and the culture around work and what it means for like the actual human beings. Because like we've talked about this a lot, how much like we love a 4-day work week around here, like as an idea. I mean, it makes sense. Of
course.
Whatever is more efficient is what should be happening because that allows people to live more of their lives with their families or their passions or whatever it may be. And the last thing we saw was like this huge study that was like years long that said, hey, man, we're having a real hard time finding an excuse why a 32-hour work week wouldn't be good for people. Right. And most recently, I think in 2019, in Japan, Microsoft Japan, again, Japan is fucking, you want to talk about work culture where like, Japan is one of the few places people like in a modern country or developed country where people die from overworking. Like an office job and like that kind of exhaustion. So for Japan to kind of even engage with like, maybe there's a better way to do this. I was like, okay, well, what's going on? So Microsoft, they gave 2,300, all their employees, 2,300 of them in Japan specifically. They said you can choose like your own, flexible work style. That's going to kind of come out to a 4-day work week. And let's just see if there would be something good that comes out of it. They fucking had a 40% increase in productivity and then like exponential growth in people's like feelings of positivity and like just feeling better about their quality of life just because they had the flexibility to figure out how they could work in a more efficient way. They even said, look, we're not even going to have fucking meetings that are more than 30 minutes. Like, let's really figure out how to make things as efficient as possible. In the U.S., we've had a congressperson introduce a bill that he's saying like, yeah, in America, we should look at a 32-hour work week. We really need to do it because all of the data we have supports this move. And again, as he says, shorter work week would benefit both employers and employees alike. Pilot programs run by governments and businesses across the globe have shown promising results. Productivity climbed. People reported better work-life balance, less need to take sick days, heightened morale, and lower childcare expenses because people had more times with their families and children. It's just all fucking there, but we won't do it. And meanwhile, you juxtapose that with what we're looking at in the U.S., which is cut the benefits to force someone into a situation where they have to take a job that they don't want because that's where we're at. That's currently the philosophy, or at least a lot of the economic analysts are like, well, we have 8.5 million people unemployed and we have 10 million job openings. So I think that's going to fit.
Fucking problem.
That's going to fit like a fucking glove. And we continue to see that that's not the case. And we still get these same dumb fucking fake ass talking points, or the unemployment benefits are making people lazy and shit like that. And there was a new research came out. For every 8 workers who lost benefits, only 1 found a job. So even people who lost jobs, they were having trouble finding the work that was actually relevant to them. They said the leading reasons why unemployed aren't taking jobs have little to do with government money and everything to do with health and economic crisis, childcare scarcity and cost, fear of getting or spreading COVID-19, and taking care of someone with the disease or getting sick themselves, according to the survey. And we're kind of like stuck in this loop of like just only measuring our success based on shareholder value.
It's so toxic the way that the mainstream media covers this shit, because these are people making the best decisions for their health, for their ability to survive. It's the same shit with the unhoused population. It has gone down, but they're more conspicuous now because they're not going to shelters anymore, because they know that shelters are deadly because there are COVID outbreaks there in a lot of cases. And so they're living on the streets and accumulating things that they need to live on the streets. So now you are seeing the unhoused population in your community much more than you used to. And it's not being covered as like, yeah, of course they're doing that because that's what is saving their lives. Like, that's smart. It's just being covered like, well, this is disgusting. Like, it's a problem. And like the same with like people not going back to work. It's like turned into laziness instead of, you don't want to be out in like a place that doesn't respect your fucking like your health, especially right now while we're living through a global pandemic. But that's everywhere, across the center.
Yeah, we did an episode on the royal we. I did an episode on Hood Politics about the ending of these unemployment benefits, and what Miles brought up as far as like the theory being, well, if you're getting free money, why would you go back to work? And how that's just not playing out. Like the owner of what's the job? Monster was the job site. Yeah. He was like, we just not seeing it. In the states that y'all ended it early, fools ain't applying for jobs. And when we did that episode, there was what was in the news then was like Applebee's was offering free appetizers for if you came to get an interview. And to me, it's like, to your point, Jack, like when you think about economic models, like economy models, sociological trends, it's like, there's this weird, like, but are y'all talking to actual people though?
No.
Because like your models, and who are you modeling it by? I remember in economics, my undergrad, they had the average man was like what you modeled all of your economic models on. But like, that's not a real person. Nobody actually has 2.5 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a person. So it's like, how you modeling your whole model and what you telling me things is happening based on a human that don't exist? If you just actually talk to a human that exists, this shit makes perfect sense. Why would I go back to his job? You had a year off on a job to realize this job was some bullshit. I was tired all the damn time. I ain't like the work, and you ain't pay me enough. Why the hell would I go back? Right? Like, this just seems so easy. Like, or if you an employer, just go, I wonder why nobody's coming getting our jobs. Maybe we should offer appetizers, or maybe you should offer benefits, my nigga.
Right.
Like, how about pay them better? How about treat people better? Why you think, and just like, the homeless thing, it's like y'all not talking to actual people. The shit makes sense if you just talk to actual people.
Right. Yeah, because everything is done on a balance sheet. And that's why it's so violent, because it doesn't take into account people's humanity. They just look at, 8.5 million people with no jobs. I got 10 million jobs opening. The recovery is only a matter of time. But
it's right there for you.
They're not just, it's just the idea they're not just looking at it as humans. They can't do it. There's no nuance to it. It's not 8.5 million desperate people. You know what I mean? And they're not seeing it. This is not 8.5 million people where maybe many of them need to take care of a sick child or have a parent they have to take care of. It's definitely, the way they look at it, it definitely can't be someone who's living in a region where housing and food insecurity is like a real threat.
Yeah.
It certainly isn't somebody who is going through an emotionally trying time because they've lost a lot of loved ones and a job, and it's an omni crisis for this person, because it's easier just to say, well, this number plus this number equals problem solved. Right. But that works only for a little bit, because now you're just seeing all of the blood and carnage that comes out of treating people like fucking numbers and not as human beings with their individual needs that have to be taken into consideration.
Yeah. And it's not accurate. And it's becoming less and less so. Like it could happen here, your fellow Cool Zone Media podcast, The Daily Show with Robert Evans.
Our LeBron James.
Yeah.
Robert's our LeBron James. We get
there you
it.
go.
Okay.
But they interviewed an economist who was saying that now that everything is fucked, basically, now that we are living in a, post-normal world where like everything from temperatures to disease spread to, the environment are no longer at a point of equilibrium, that they call it like you need to be thinking about the economy as the way that like desert environmentalists think about the desert, which is like if you average the temperature of a desert, it's going to give you like 70, but that's because it drops to 40 and then goes up to 110 in the morning. But like economists are working on it from an average, and it's just not going back to average anytime soon.
Yeah. I think when I another one of my past lives, when I was teaching high school, I taught in like this. The school was like right smack dab in between sort of 3 different like hoods, and there was a little boys and girls club that was like across the street from the school. And I remember the administration put together this total like tutoring and after school program. When I tell you, they was breaking their arms, patting themselves on the back with this little after school program they did, this enrichment for these, these inner city kids who, need these programs. And for the life of them, I remember sitting in this meeting, I remember the vice principal he was from Compton. So we used to just look at each other during these meetings and just be like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't know where they are.
They don't know where they are. Right. Mm-hmm. So they would make, and just so confused. I remember these people just being so befuddled as to why students that they thought needed this wouldn't come.
Why aren't they in that part of the
And I'm like,
that part of town? Like,
you didn't even have to finish it. I didn't even have to finish it.
You
know what I'm saying? I'm just like,
it's there for them. It's like, wow.
You trying to ask this kid to walk through Fallujah? You know what I'm saying? Right. To go to like nah, like it just the fact that like I just don't understand why I have to tell you this. Like, you work here, you talking to the same students I'm talking to. Like, I don't understand what you don't understand. Like, what is you looking at? And like you said, you looking at documents. You're saying, well, the average temperature is 70 degrees. And it's like,
exactly.
Okay.
It's equidistant for many of the students who would be serviced by this facility. Exactly. So it's easy to walk to. I don't understand.
Oh, we're off for snacks? Yeah. I'm like,
wait, what does it mean to go on the other side of Hyde Park? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're out here like, huh? It's really, and again, it's because we're not taking into account people's humanity. Yeah. We have people who look at human life as facts and figures, and we just can't, it's wild to, I think, all of us, because even in the situation you're talking about, or we're talking about, if you speak to people and understand what the threats are to their well-being, then you can actually make a better decision rather than just like this brutal fucking math of like 8.5 million fucking people, no jobs, 10 million jobs, cut the fucking benefits off and let's see what happens. Because the first thing in this research that was done too, they said when people's benefits get cut off, the first thing isn't that they go looking for a job. They start tightening up and they start spending less. That's what happens. That's the first thing people do. Not go say, okay, well, now I guess I'll take a job that will not offer me any dignity or anything, or acknowledge my humanity, and I'll go back to this old way. So yeah, it's tough. And then I also hear I have people who I know who are like, well, it's different. I have a small business and things like that. And well, then you should be advocating for Medicare for all. Because
hell yeah,
think about it.
Exactly.
Those aren't costs you would have to have anymore, because that shit would be covered. And I know that's a huge item, a financial burden as an employer is providing those things. So then get on board, because you can make it easier for yourself too. And I'm not trying to say it's all that simple, but we really need to begin to shift how we look at the most basic issues and put humanity at the forefront, or people's individual experience to understand how to give people the best outcomes with these policies.
I love how you even add like just this is in your own best interest situation. It's like, if you got employees, happy people stick around. Like, I want you to like it here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I don't understand. Like, that's to your benefit. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, when I think about like my assistant that, you know, I pay her what I pay her because I don't want her to leave.
Right.
Mm-hmm. She good at her job. So I'm like, okay, well, what's it going to take for you to have to go be somebody else's assistant to make ends meet? Because I'm like, I can't afford that. I need your attention. So I'm going to pay you enough to make sure your attention's here. And if you tell me that's a problem, like, hey, I'm going to need a little more, we moving to this, then like, all right, let's figure it out, because I can't afford to lose you. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, you should be lucky I'm letting you. Like, nah, like, on a selfish situation. That's what I'm saying. Even in my own self-interest, it makes sense to be like, oh, you telling me insurance is off my books? It's on the state's books? Hell yeah.
Right.
I ain't got to pay for it? Okay, cool. Let's go. You know, like, y'all, they tripping, man. I don't understand why it just seems so logical, like you said.
Right. And I think because we have so much propaganda that we're hit with constantly, that it takes a lot of time, effort to even look past all that shit and try and see the things for what they are. And it's tough for a lot of people, but until we really get there, I mean, we're going to just keep making these same mistakes.
I mean, I will just say that it's, you know, look at Jeff Bezos. Like, there's the examples where it's better, it's more sustainable for society, but we also have a world's richest man that the last 25 years have created, whose primary innovation was treating people like shit. So, like, the rewards are there for the people who do the short-term thinking and just grind it until the wheels fall off, and then they get to go to space. And when they go to space, it gets covered 5 times as much as fucking climate change.
Yes.
So it's just, it's a large social problem of like what we reward with our attention and what we reward with like the rewards in our culture.
Yeah. We have to redefine what ballin' is. Yes. And ballin' should just be providing for your community. That's ballin'. You know, not exploiting the people that work for you so you can take off on a spaceship. That's like early 2000s ballin'. And, you know, I think we're not connecting like how much good comes out of people having empathy. And that is truly something that, you know, I wish societally we could reward people with more for having that at the forefront of the things that they do.
Yeah. All right, let's take another quick break and we'll be right back. Miles, it's Jack from work. We're pretty open on the show about, you know, struggling with anxiety, depression here and there. And we've also talked about how beneficial it is to seek therapy.
And the benefit of just talking out your problems, being able to express yourself in a non-judgmental environment. And, you know, a lot of the times we're like looking at our own problems. We're like, this is only me and I must be the only person that can solve it. No, this is where BetterHelp comes in, because BetterHelp can connect you with a professional person. You can get professional counseling done securely online. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. And you can start in under 48 hours.
BetterHelp offers experienced therapists who can listen and help. And the Daily Zeitgeist is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy, and our listeners get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/TDZ. That's betterhelp.com/TDZ. Get matched with a BetterHelp therapist and get started.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is back. And the best bet you can make is downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It doesn't matter if you're new to gambling or an old pro, FanDuel has something for everyone. And as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you know your bets are safe. There's also never been a better time to use FanDuel, because right now, you'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. You can even turn a small wager into a big payday with a same-game parlay bet. Just sign up with the promo code SPOTIFY to place your first bet risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download FanDuel today. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Khalil Gibran Muhammad.
And I'm Ben Austin. We're two best friends.
One black,
one white.
I'm a historian.
And I'm a journalist.
And now we have a new podcast. It's called Some of My Best Friends Are.
Like, I'm not a racist. Some of my best friends are... ... So we grew up on the south side of Chicago together.
And here we are, look, all grown up. I mean, look at you, Ben. You are this incredible writer and journalist. You've written for the New York Times, Wired Magazine, GQ.
You know, you've somehow made it to Harvard. You know, from Kenwood to Harvard.
And in this show, we're going to wrestle with the challenges and absurdities of a deeply divided and unequal country. Listen to Some of My Best Friends Are
on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. And like we said, we do like to check in with the sperm of the unvaccinated every once in a while. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like listeners know the last few weeks we've been letting them know about how unvaccinated sperm will be the new crypto, aka the new gold standard.
Yep.
You know, the anti-vax crowd gave us this theory. It should be noted. This did not come about via independent research. It is a theory that was created by the scientific minds that brought you taking horse dewormer.
Horse pills.
Yeah.
Yes, but
yeah.
So I mean, let's run through it real quick again. Why all our sperm is trash? Because we got
all our sperm is trash because if you know Bill Gates, he's behind the whole global depopulation fucking movement.
Gotcha.
He's the fucking architect of this shit, and his whole thing is that look, don't get it because he's trying to kill everybody and depopulate the earth. So it's only about like 500 million or whatever number they think is whatever the goal for these people, and then. Because of that, people that are unvaccinated will have the most sought after sperm because they don't have Bill Gates' Microsoft shot and it didn't turn their sperms into becoming Mr. Clippy asking if you need assistance when you're using a Word document. So
I mean, speak for yourself.
Hi, do you need some help? Like, oh my God, the fuck is this? But yeah, it's this
terrifying
is
image.
Yeah, because that's a weird shape. This theory has been well and truly debunked. Mostly because it seemed to be more of a wish they were holding out for. Like to be like, yeah, man, that's the other thing that could be really cool if we're not vaccinated.
Then all their wives are going to want to fuck us. It's like, okay.
Because we got that good sperm. So Robin Panankia
there.
Well, Robin Panankia at Wonkette just did a little thinking. She's like, well, I know we know that this is bullshit because they're pointing like they're really like the dumbest headlines to say that this is proof of, like a whole conspiracy. And said, I wonder if there's any research on what ivermectin does to sperm because that's their big miracle drug. And I'm curious if for all this energy about being sterile, have they even done a little bit of just research into ivermectin? Well, she did. I don't know what's in it. She found this study and it said this. From the results obtained, it is evident that ivermectin therapy, again, I just want to say this is from a study that was done on human beings because we know it's made for animals, but this is on a narrow study where there was a human application of ivermectin for a certain illness. Not COVID, but again, this is what happened when human beings were taking ivermectin. Quote, it is evident that ivermectin therapy has significant adverse effects on the sperm functions of male onchocerciform psoriasis patients, that's the illness, that were being treated. There was a significant reduction or drop in the sperm counts of the patients after their treatment with ivermectin. Furthermore, the study showed a significant and remarkable drop in the sperm motility of the patients after their treatment with ivermectin. As for the morphology of the sperm, there was a rise in the abnormal sperms after treatment compared with the morphology before the commencement of treatment. These changes, no doubt, are as results of the effects of the drug on the sperm function of the patients. So,
oh my God.
While y'all are out here with your other, just again, because I don't know what, this is all in a fucking effort to feel right about what you believe, but the shit is also right there saying this it could and will fuck your sperm up. They also said they recommend caution in the use of ivermectin in animals meant for breeding.
Okay, so that's already on the box is, hey, this thing messes up breeding, so maybe y'all shouldn't take this.
If they're meant to be bred, maybe slow down on the ivermectin.
Yeah,
but
it's absolutely amazing.
This is just like just the irony of it is it's so fucking weird and cruel. I don't even know like to laugh. I'm just like, it's just so weird that we go further.
So weird.
I was talking with my friend, right? And it's just like, I feel like we're looking at this, another realignment of society, you know? Like on some level, like since the fucking Enlightenment or something, where clearly
it's really that
where people are departing in different directions on what they believe what our society means, like is meant to be or not meant to be, just the nature of our relationship to science. There's just like all that, and it goes deeper than political ideology, because you have liberal people and conservatives who who will be on the same page with shit like this.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what the effects of propaganda, plus this pandemic has put people under tremendous stress, that it's triggered this, like, I don't know, like slow motion. I don't know. I don't know what to call it, but it's a phenomenon that I'm still having trouble like really getting my head around precisely what is happening.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, I mean, you think Bill Gates is trying to depopulate. In my mind, I'm like, I feel like Earth is trying to depopulate the Earth. Like it seemed like
we were talking about that last time.
Earth is doing its best. But yeah, I think you're hitting it on the head. Like a history nerd in me, like thinks back to like the Bronze Age and like the Sea People, whoever the hell they were, which really weren't just like one group of people, but how it like effectively reshaped Earth. You know, and like that we were on this particular trajectory. I mean, it was like 1177 BC, like the connectivity between like, it's so weird to go all the way back to this, but I mean, like there was like effectively the ancient version of like the G7. There was like a global economy, like the world. I mean, this is high, like this is the golden age of what we consider antiquity. And then it just stopped, you know, like it just collapsed. And a lot of that had to do, a lot of people don't know, is with climate change. People was running from their old places, and then everybody got sick where they were getting copper. And when you got sick where you was getting copper, then that just messed up the whole global economy. Like it just, and that was because of climate change. Like there was all these like, and then there was these different new diseases started traveling because people got too connected. And it just turned over Earth. And you know what I'm saying? And so when I think about moments in history that has happened, it's like, you're right. It's like you've never had the wherewithal to sit in the middle of it and go like, I think we're in the moment, you know? Right. And it feels like you're right. I feel like we're in it. It's like, what country in Europe hasn't collapsed?
Right.
Like they've all collapsed. It's all happened. You know what I'm saying? So you're just like, it's coming up, guys. It's gonna happen. I mean, you know.
It's happened. You know, and there's just a lot of good paint on the top of this, you know, funky car wreck that it still looks like, oh, I think it's okay. And you're like, no, there's a lot of issues. Because there was a piece written by someone who like this ER doctor who started saying like, people need to actually talk about how the medical system has actually collapsed here. You know, like that's not being discussed enough.
Yes.
It's always like it's on the brink or things like that. But from his perspective as a doctor, he's like, when you have people dying in the waiting room of preventable illnesses that aren't COVID because just the way the entire system is set up to not actually like try and treat people as quickly as possible or as equitably as possible, that it leads to these kinds of just terrible, terrible things. Like someone who had like some kind of like pancreatitis thing going on, and then he just died in the waiting room because he couldn't get to the, you know, medical intervention that he needed because of the ICU being overrun with COVID patients. And yeah, there's just a lot to grasp at the moment. And I think that's why I'm like, I don't know if it's happening because we're looking at so many different issues simultaneously.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing how people choose to address these issues too, whether it's to completely ignore it or to kind of ignore it, acknowledge it, and other people want to go fully into it and try and do something. But it's this has existed throughout many different phases of history. But there's just something different. I don't know. It just feels very different.
Yeah, it's like with all the doom and gloom of just how weird this is and bizarre, and like of the idea of saying that there's a significant and countable number of society that would take a horse dewormer rather than an approved medicine made for humans. That would seriously, that's not a joke. They really, this is really where they are. Like the severity of that, coupled with the, in my mind, just again, a longer view of history and like that, but there is an after that, you know, like I said, like going back to like Europe as an example, there's still such thing as France. You know what I'm saying? Like it still exists. You know what I'm saying? There's still such thing as Greece. Like these are still places you can visit, but it went through a thing that you're like, I don't want to go through whatever we're going through, but like, I just feel like we're playing Jenga here and just, it's gonna fall, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It seems like from a broad historical perspective, like this is it, like you mentioned the Enlightenment, and like that was brought about by the printing press, and like it feels like the internet is the opposite of the printing press, because where it's like the printing press taken to its like most logical, illogical extreme, where it's like the printing press was a engine that could run at a certain RPM, and the internet is just like pushing it. And that's not a cool take. It's a fucking like Luddite Unabomber take, but it really feels like we're at a point where we need to figure out how to regulate how information is consumed, or I don't know. I don't know what
we
the
seem
other
to be
options
uniquely affected by it in this country. I mean, granted, there's anti-vax movements across the globe, but like here especially, like there's this combination of American exceptionalism plus a slowly decimated education system over the last few decades, where we're not creating many critical thinking people, and we're mapping that on top of like this American identity, which is like fucking can't tell me nothing about shit. That is, it's affecting us in a very specific way.
It's a killer combo.
And it's just a. I'm like, you know, what is the next thing after this? Like, what happens when this phase of whatever we're in runs its course? Then what is born out of that? Are we going to pick up the pieces and try and do something different? Or is it just going to accelerate towards whatever the end path is for this? I don't know.
I mean, I talk a lot about how the inventor of the loudspeaker blamed himself for the rise of Hitler. The Rwandan genocide radio stations played a huge part in the spreading of that, and so, like we've gotten like small pockets around the world of internet caused versions of that, but I mean that is like that's the danger, right? That I think we need to, and America seems like one of the top candidates, which is fucking terrifying.
And we got the most guns for people to just grab one. There you go. So it's just all, and you'd hope that this is where people begin to see what the problems are out there and do what's right or try and improve things. And I mean, like, I'm heartened by seeing things like, you know, that like a lot of Gen Z kids are being more and more interested in working in climate work, like as a career than like any other generation.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, things are moving, but like everything is very much in flux in a way that.
To be open
I'm not attuned to.
Yeah, to be open to have that type of imagination to say, like, I know that there's a world out there that's like possible. And I'm being real, like, flowery and poetic, but like, like to imagine a better future that like it sometimes does require, actually almost all the time, like a sort of divesting in the one we're in now. You know what I'm saying? And just having to like look at the bits and pieces of there that are like, what's worth saving? What do we need to just like take our big old eraser to and just be like, all right, maybe let's just go ahead and start over here, you know?
Right.
And having the guts to do it, you know, and the type of, again, like imagination to say that like, it doesn't have to be like this. It can be something else. I don't know what else is, but I know it can be something else, you know? And I feel like, you know, to self-aggrandize, I feel like that's where the poets and the artists and now the podcasters come in and, you know what I'm saying, is like help like spark that imagination collectively about like what we can do to see this world better.
Yeah. Well put. All right. Well, Prop, as always, so amazing having you on TDZ.
Man,
where can people find you and follow you?
PropHipHop.com. We just released a virtual performance. It's like an hour-long poetry and rap thing interview. There's some cocktail recipes, coffee on there. That's at prophiphop.com. That's also all of my Twitter and Instagram handles, PropHipHop. Hood Politics Pod on network. These are, as Sophie says, my pod fathers. So I am your pod child here. Yeah.
There you go.
Hood Politics Pod. Yep.
And is there by the way, I do want to say that for anybody who's lacking hope right now, the conversation we just had that ended with beautiful things said by both of you started as a conversation about trash sperm. So, you know, there's always a chance that we can turn things around.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a tweet or some other work of social media you've been enjoying?
Yes. And oh man, it's a thread. And I was hoping y'all wouldn't cover it, and I'm so glad you haven't. Or maybe you have and I missed it. But when the news came out that Del Curry was getting a divorce, did y'all see this thread?
I think we mentioned it, but we did not read through it. I'm
gonna read through this thing. This is the greatest.
So good. It is some of the best writing. Yeah, some of the best writing anywhere. Yeah.
I was like, who is this guy? Sign him up now. So, so he quote tweets that Del and Sonia Curry are getting divorced after 30 plus years of marriage. And I'm just going to read through it. He say,
this is, by the way,
let me tell y'all.
Steph Curry's dad,
parents,
who is a former NBA player. Steph Curry's mom, who is, you know, one of the most beautiful people.
Just, yes.
Period.
Yeah. And it's sad to laugh about this because, like, it's very possible Steph listens to the show, you know, and like, you know, it's like you never want to make a mockery about somebody's parents divorcing.
Right.
And this thread is undeniably brilliant.
Yes.
Yes. So he says, so this brother's name, Solomon, Missouri. That's his app mention. He says, let me tell y'all something. You don't want to be out here. You think you want to be out here because you're not out here. Next thread. When you get out here, you ain't gonna want to be out here no more. Last time you was out here was different. You think something better. I come to let you know the best you gonna get is what you already got. I don't know why you don't want to do the work. You gonna come out here and you ain't gonna like it. All they do is start a podcast and talk about plate fixing. 14 minutes of being out here, you're going to start saying, these females. If you can make it work, do so. You don't want to be out here learning TikTok dances and falling off of milk crates. Love the wife of your youth. They won, but listen, but they won rounds now. You better pray about coming out here. You think it's a game till you in the middle of 60K people in a panty, and she pointing her finger at you, rapping all of some Flo Milli lyrics. You don't like, do you like turmeric? Do you like turmeric? Charcoal ice cream? You better learn to like it. I'm not even done, y'all.
Yeah, it goes on.
It goes on. You don't know nothing about Sneaky Link. Now you knocking on the door of some 22-year-old with 3 roommates because she got a side piece. You gonna be wearing Hottie t-shirt by Thanksgiving. You better ask your wife to forgive you. You better go listen to Lemonade and pray about it. You don't got the cholesterol to be out here. They not eating butter pecan no more. Bluebell ain't even out here. You gonna be chasing Cialis with Red Bull. You know what a group chat is? You better learn, because you finna be the subject. You know how to make a mimosa? Tula is 60% crab leg, 30% iced coffee, and 10% vape pen. Beloved, wherever went wrong, go back and make it right. They pegging out here. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. These people are the children of Rihanna, born in the fires of chaos. Bruh, okay, there's 2 more. He say, you ready to leave your wife for 30 years till you wake up and your body's surrounded by rose quartz and moon water. Oh, Lord. My message is simple. Del Curry, go home and be a family man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's like, yo, these people are 60% crab leg, 10% iced coffee, and 10% vape pen. They peg it out here. He said, my man
not ready. They said, you not ready. They was like, they are the children of Rihanna. Born in the fires of chaos.
I mean,
oh my God, this man needs to write a book.
Seriously.
Yes. That's the one.
I mean, that was beautiful. Miles, where can people find you, and is there a tweet you've been enjoying?
Yeah, find me Twitter, Instagram at Miles of Gray. Also, the other podcast, if you like 90 Day, check out 420 Day Fiance with Sophia Alexandra and I. So, a couple of tweets I like. First one is from Michael Benjamin at MF Benji. Tweeted, some of you have huge, I have married parents vibes. Cruel, but I know that vibe. I get it.
You're right. Just healthy you're like, environment.
Right. You're like, why? You're like, I bet, let me check their feed. Watch, their parents are together on Christmas, right? Yeah, exactly. And then at Shelby the Clown tweeted, you're not that dog's parents. That dog has parents that are also dogs. And you took him away from them.
Let's be real.
Just love that sentiment.
Yeah.
Let's see. Certified Hater Boy tweeted, I can't with this Lil Nas X. Back in my day, rappers were hard like Tupac, who wore a nose ring and leather bustier and went to art school for ballet. You can find me on Twitter at Jack_O'Brien. You can find us on Twitter at Daily Zeitgeist. We're at The Daily Zeitgeist on Instagram. We have a Facebook fan page and a website, dailyzeitgeist.com, where we post our episodes and our footnotes, where we link off to the information that we talked about in today's episode, as well as a song that we think you might enjoy. Miles, what are we sending people to go listen to?
Okay, so again, just like I said yesterday, one of the best albums that came out last week is that from Little Simz from the UK. One of my favorite artists that I was sleeping on for far too long. Her new album is just fantastic. But this is a new track from her called Point and Kill, featuring Bong JR. This has really great just African rhythms, but also the vocal stylings are super on point. And again, Lil Simz just makes fantastic music, and she's so solid as an MC. So when she starts rapping, you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, that show's fucking fever! What? How did that just go by me?" So I'm gonna just keep caping for Lil Simz. Check out Lil Simz, Point and Kill.
All right, go check that out. The Daily Zeitgeist is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. That is going to do it for us this morning, but we are back this afternoon to tell you what's trending, and we'll talk to y'all then. Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Daily Zeitgeist is brought to you by Simi Wine. Simi Wine was born from the grit and perseverance of its tenacious founder, Isabel Simi, because when life gave her grapes, she knew exactly what to do.
And that's why a glass of Simi wine is a reward worth having, because good things come to those who work hard. I've tried the Chardonnay. It's medium bodied, and I must say, an easy sipper on a nice hot summer day. So enjoy their many varietals wherever fine wines are sold, or visit online at shopsimiwine.com. That's SHOPSIMIWINE.com to learn more about their premium selection of California wines and order yours today. Please enjoy your wines responsibly. Simi Winery, Geyserville, California.
I'm Khalil Gibran Muhammad.
And I'm Ben Austin. We're two best friends.
One black.
One white.
I'm a historian.
And I'm a journalist.
And this is Some of My Best Friends Are. As in, I'm not a racist. Some of my best friends are... ...
In this show, we wrestle with the challenges
and the absurdities
of a deeply divided and unequal country.
Listen to Some of My Best Friends Are
on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.